of the NAMI Maryland Board of Directors. And on behalf of the board, we want to welcome all of you to this meeting this morning. It's our second or third time, Steve, I think it's third time we've had the annual meeting at this location. It seems to be working well. We're getting more votes. Thank you. I have a lot of plants in the audience to assist me. But anyway, thank you. And I just wanted to express our appreciation for everyone coming out on an early Saturday morning for this very important activity. The polls will be open from 10 o'clock at the end of this meeting until approximately 1 o'clock. And I believe there will be a reminder during lunch that the polls will be closing. So please, please vote. I won't say Chicago style early and often, but one vote. Is it one per household if you're a household member? Okay. In any event, we have a slate this year of 6 candidates. Some of them are in the auditorium. And if I just ask you, the new candidates to stand up, I won't call out. Is that Jared? Jared, right? Beth Gilliland. Karen. Oh, Karen. And I'm a candidate as well, but they'll be circulating this morning if you want to talk to them. They're wonderful people, and we're really excited that they'll be on our board representing you for the next year. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'd also like to acknowledge the wonderful staff that we have, who, even though the board has the governance role, the staff really is able to carry out what we want them to do. And Elizabeth, if you'll stand up. She's our deputy director. Danielle is in the lobby. Danielle Fletcher, along with Judy Grusso, our new development director, and as well as Jamia Miller, who, so please, she's at the registration desk, so please say a few words to her. And I left out one person. Judy, oh, there she is, stand up. Judy joined us this fall and is doing a splendid job. So I did leave out one person. That is my colleague, Kate Farinholt. So we're going to spend several minutes going through our annual report and give you a state of the organization report. I was thinking about this on the way up, Kate, and I think 2 words really stand out during this year, and that would be transition and growth. And you'll see as we go through this, it really was a tremendous achievement in both areas. Remember, this covers the 2018 fiscal year, which goes from March 1, 2017 through 2018 through through March of 2019. So keep that in mind as we go through it. So Kate, are we ready to do the slides? And sure. We're going to tag team this.
Sure. So the annual report is in your materials, and so feel free to read it. It is the official report to the membership and stakeholders and funders and anyone else. But do remember the time frame, because it does get a little confusing since March 31st is quite a while ago. Okay, so moving on. Nothing's changed on this. NAMI is a national movement. It is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We've had some name changes over the years, but we want to really be sure we're all on the same page when we use that name. And we are made up of a national headquarters, state organizations, and local affiliates. And we work the whole focus is to work together to build better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. So, NAMI Maryland. We are the official state organization of NAMI in Maryland. We have over 49,000 families, individuals, community-based organizations, and providers that are actually in the NAMI Maryland database. That does not include many of the people who are reached through our local affiliates and others. So we're pretty vibrant. We have, of course, extensive outreach, support, and education, both in person and through various medias, and we have expanded our social media and online presence by a great deal this year. Danielle can take credit, and she's not here. So, please feel free to congratulate her on how far we've come. She has moved from administrative assistant to the communication and outreach events coordinator within this particular year. We have a warm line that's extremely busy, both by phone and more actually online. And of course, we offer education and support programs and advocate where possible through volunteers and affiliates at the local level. And there are a lot of local volunteers and affiliate leaders and program leaders here. And we're going to say it over and over again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next. A little small, the mission, and we hope that at least our board members can recite this. There'll be a test.
I can do it backwards.
The mission of NAMI Maryland is to improve the quality of life for individuals and their families coping with mental illness. We are dedicated to providing education, support, and advocacy for persons with mental illness, their families, and the wider community. Our core principles are recovery, empowerment, and that lived experience can truly change the world. People using their lived experience to inform the world. And we are working, have for years, but I think we're moving forward faster in terms of bringing about systemic change. We want to be, and hope we are, a unifying voice and a skilled provider of knowledge and skills at the grassroots level, and we promise to work to build better lives. Core values, I think this is very important. Again, individuals with mental illness and their families are the experts. They have the lived experience. Those personal experiences can be used to improve systems and to provide community outreach and education, as well as not only community outreach, outreach to various specific audiences, as well as peer audiences, families and individuals. Our effective peer-based NAMI programs are led by intensively trained family members and individuals with mental illness, and they are for their peers. And we leverage the power and networks of our volunteers and a lot of community partners to spread NAMI's message of hope and effective action. Here are just some of the NAMI signature programs. I'm not going to go into them in depth, but how many of you have attended a NAMI family-to-family course? Family support. Okay. NAMI connection support for peers, individuals with lived experience. NAMI peer-to-peer, relapse prevention recovery course. Okay, really powerful. And then a lot of you are also have been trained to do outreach in your community and to speak, to present to various audiences. Among others, one of our big programs is NAMI in Our Own Voice. How many of you are in our own voice presenters? How many of you have heard an in our own voice presenter speak? Yeah, okay. And we're pleased to say that with the exception of NAMI Family to Family, every one of these NAMI signature programs was actually piloted in Maryland.
I mentioned transition and growth, and this is the slide you're seeing encapsulates that. We had a mandate from NAMI that by the end of 2018, all of our affiliates in Maryland would be re-affiliated and operate consistent with their standards of excellence. And I'm pleased to report that we did that. We accomplished that by December 31, 2018. And so now we're operating with affiliates at two levels. The Model A affiliates are legal, or they operate with typically operate with a paid staff and very active boards. The Model A affiliates in Maryland are Anne Arundel, Howard County, I have it written so I don't miss anybody, Baltimore Metro, NAMI Prince George's County, and NAMI Montgomery County. So we were really pleased that they were affiliated and are operating. They are all legally and financially independent incorporated organizations. They have to meet federal and state laws and regulations governing corporations and charitable organizations, and they comply with NAMI's standards of excellence. The growth really pertains to our Model B affiliates. We have 6 that we were able to have affiliated. They actually are integrated into NAMI Maryland's structure. So their finances and governance are the responsibility of NAMI Maryland. And this year we have been operating since January 1 with 6. That would be Carroll County, Frederick County, Harford County, Kent and Queen Anne's County, Lower Shore, and NAMI Southern Maryland. And what this means is, as being part of our structure, we are actually providing the education and programs for them. So that is a significant cost and expense that we've had to incur. But the good news is that we are delivering the programs. I think the other area of growth is in the programs that we're offering, and you'll see this vividly when we talk about our profit and loss statement and operating expenses. You'll see a significant jump, but that's because we have the number of trainings that we've been providing has also increased dramatically, as well as the programs that we're offering on behalf of the Model B affiliates. So we're very happy to have them as part of the family. What have I done, Kate? Okay. Go ahead.
No, you're
You want
fine.
to go? Okay. So for the affiliates, we support the training for any person delivering the senior programs for the affiliates. And that means we provide the training and ensure that they are out at the volunteers leading these programs are delivering them consistent with NAMI standards and the standards of excellence. We assist the local affiliates in program planning, recruitment, community outreach, policy and advocacy expertise. Has anyone attended this NAMI Smarts for Advocacy or been trained in that? Very important, and it helps hone your skills that you can use when you're advocating on behalf of our policies and platform. And we also coordinate all statewide advocacy and outreach.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So NAMI is an interesting organization with 2 different kinds of affiliates in Maryland and variety of things. I just want to be clear that we have to every year vouch for the fidelity of the NAMI programs that are being delivered at the local level. So while we do the initial training, we get reports from our local affiliates, from all of the support groups that are held. There's forms that are to be submitted. We get data from the graduations, from presentations that are done, and then we report that and also vouch for the the compliance of all the people who are at the local level, whether they're Model A's or Model B affiliates, for the fact that they are with fidelity to NAMI standards of excellence, which include not only legal requirements, but also fidelity to these wonderful NAMI national programs, and also to advocacy that is in coordination and support of NAMI Nationals and NAMI Maryland's policy agenda. And I'm proud to report that we, yet again, vouched for all our local people, and we're so impressed by all that you do. So thank you.
And I mentioned our activities. You see in fiscal year 2019 that ended in March, we held 7 family-to-family courses in partnership with the Model B affiliates. We held a NAMI Basics course with one of our Model B affiliates, and we've offered our NAMI programs at areas in the state that don't have dedicated affiliates. And they're getting smaller, right? They're shrinking. We're actually, I think there's, Western Maryland and Mid-Shore, is that what you called it?
And Cecil County, where we hold a lot of programs, but we're working on it.
Okay. And the VA.
And I did want to note, the 7 family-to-family courses was a jump from the prior year of 2. And the average number in the courses greatly increased. So it's not just holding the courses, but getting people into them and graduating them. So it's pretty impressive.
And I think that's a mark that our Model B leaders are doing a terrific job of recruiting and finding people and serving that need. Kate?
Okay.
This is her I see charts, I don't know what to do with them, so she designed it, I'm going to let her.
Okay. Well, actually, thank you, Judy, for designing these slides.
She can get up here.
So there's a lot in the annual report, and I'm not going to go into depth, really, about what we do in terms of statewide advocacy and policy. But we represent NAMI on and partner with more than 65 statewide organizations and groups. We have 6 staff, and 2 of us, with the help of others, are doing that. Some of them are on the right side, and those of you who heard Ellen Weber from the Parity at 10 Coalition yesterday, we're very active in that. We're also active in these other organizations, but as I said, actually at last count there were 74, but that's currently. This is, remember the time frame that we're talking about is 6 months ago. We do a lot of surveys. We have reduced a little bit of that, but we do a lot of surveys. We hope that our affiliates and all the people who get them will forward them on to others, because we try to get information and experiences, feedback from the grassroots that includes our affiliates as core partners, but also many, many other networks.
Can I just put in a plug for a survey? Our current strategic plan ends this year, and next spring we will be developing a new strategic plan. We're unsure if it's going to be 3 or 5 years, but the critical thing before we can do that, we need input from you. So there's going to be a survey that will be distributed in the near future. So please look for that and respond.
We're working with our national organization on that so that we do it right, and they will be helping us with the process, which is, quite frankly, a wonderful, great asset that we've been able to use. Public policy platform, little handwriting. It's all in this was the platform in 2018-19, and clearly, I don't want to go too deeply into it. There will be some discussion. There is a workshop on advocacy. There was one yesterday, and there's another one today. But core to our public policy platform is that states our long-term values, policy positions, and objectives that are fundamental to creating a comprehensive mental health system that is built on solid scientific evidence and is recovery-based, and quite frankly, also includes families. The policy platform is used to develop our annual advocacy priorities and then our legislative priorities, which provide focus for our grassroots efforts and our work on all these coalitions and our what we do at the state legislature. It helps us to improve state and federal mental health laws, broaden public awareness about mental illness, and increase NAMI's visibility and impact across Maryland. And the priorities that are listed here were indeed the priorities for that prior year, but quite frankly, they remain just as our strategic plan has core goals. These are broadly stated. These are continue to govern us. Okay. So here are some legislative issues that came up during the legislative session last year. They were not necessarily planned for at all. They fit within our priorities, but they were not on our radar necessarily and complete in the way they came down. There's an OCC, Outpatient Civil Commitment Pilot Program we worked on to get something going, and it's in Baltimore. Lot of work on that pilot to keep it and to expand it. We also were taken aback by the fact that a state legislator who we thought understood our issues actually introduced a bill to allow the 9 managed care organizations in the state of Maryland to carve in the public behavioral health system and move it over to their administration, which would have meant that our people, our stakeholders, would have had to deal with 9 different agencies, and we were very concerned about the process. We worked with state organizations, NAMI state organizations and our national across the country to get feedback about what had happened in other states when this was done. We brought in a number of people to testify, and that was a not unplanned for experience. We also, the minimum wage law that was being discussed did not actually include behavioral health service workers. And so we made sure that we were at the table. Advocacy Day was canceled due to inclement weather, though some of us were down there. And we still had a virtual advocacy day that was extremely effective, and we heard a lot from the legislators that they were getting calls. And we made a difference. So just on those specific issues that I mentioned, the Outpatient Civil Commitment Pilot Program statewide expansion passed. We were able to protect behavioral health workers in the minimum wage bill, and the what we call the MCO, the Managed Care Organization carve-in bill, was withdrawn. And that's many thanks to our government affairs consultant, Maura Moynihan, who resigned from our board as president in order to take on the contract with us. She's amazing. She does a great job. She's here today. But also the amount of outpouring of responsiveness to our emails when we sent out requests and our calls to people if they would be willing to testify. We also do a lot of work on systems and policy changes, not at the state legislature, and I think that we need to reiterate that. There's a lot of work being done. At the local level, our local affiliates are very actively involved in making sure that the things that they can change at the local level, including police response and police training, and using the 10 essential elements of what police response collaboration should look like. That's policy change, and it didn't require a state legislator. We've done a lot of work, and some of you were at the awards dinner with state corrections. We're really moving forward. There's been a lot of changes in internal rules and how inmates are treated and get treatment in corrections. We're continuing to work on that. We work a lot on veterans and military work, and we've worked on a lot of, among other things, expanding crisis and first responder programs. We held a major criminal justice summit. It was our second, and we brought in the decision makers in various categories, and we came out with a report, which then went to the legislature. We continue to work on that. Sorry, that's that. There's a lot of community outreach and education. This is just a few of the programs that we work with our local affiliates and also help people. We get out into the areas where there is either no local affiliate or the local affiliate has a lot of priorities, and we can help with them. The Healthy Hearts and Minds, I just wanted to point out, Mackenzie Huggin is here. We did an amazing program called Healthy Hearts and Minds. We piloted it. We showed it worked. It's all about spending a day and with peers to talk about and to start working on their physical health. We proved it worked. We got amazing results. And then the state said, well, thank you. So we're working on trying to keep that going or get it going again. But thank you, Mackenzie, who worked very hard on that. Lots of special presentations. We work with our local affiliates. We forward many of our requests for presentations forwarded, or we tell people to go to our local affiliates, but we also directly provide where we think it's a statewide or a regional issue that needs to be addressed. And more information. A lot of information in your program. But most important, thank you to the dedicated presenters and trainers and outreach volunteers and partners who have made our expanding community outreach and education possible through the affiliates, through the volunteers, and through our partner stakeholders. We've held a Voices of Experience event, which is a fantastic event. We work primarily with our Model B and areas where there is no NAMI. We certainly don't want to compete with our local affiliates that are doing an amazing job. But this event impact has two aspects. One is there's a big public storytelling event. And then before that, we have a VIP reception, and we target decision makers and others to bring them in. It's been pretty successful. And we are going to be holding 2 this year, one in Southern Maryland, and then the other is to be determined. But that's this year, this fiscal year. Our annual conference last year, well, I don't think we need to talk about our annual conference last year because we're already at our new conference. Our walk, remember this is 2017. We have had another walk since this report, okay? So when you're looking at it, take that under advisement. Our walk this year was phenomenally successful. And thank you to everybody here. Amazing, amazing. And we'll be giving a couple of awards around the walk, but and there was some amazing work, and I wish we could give awards to everybody who did just amazing, amazing stuff. It's a great opportunity, not just to raise money, but to have community conversations, so thank you. There you go.
So this is the governance. This describes the actors, I guess, in the governance area, primarily through the board of directors. We're a governance board, not an action board, which means that we set the direction and leave the details to the staff. We have an executive committee made up of officers and 2 at-large board members that serve for a year every year. at the first meeting of the year, we elect a new executive committee, and we'll be doing that next week at our board meeting. We have an affiliation committee that was really instrumental as we went through the transition to the Model A's and the Model B's. I'm kind of chuckling where we haven't been extremely active this year, although we were active in the year covered by this report, primarily because we're awaiting guidance from NAMI National on where to go from here, and they're digesting it. How many affiliates did they affiliate? 600 or something. So so they're digesting that now, and they'll give us direction in the future. We have a development plan work group. We have a policy and advocacy committee that fulfills its governance role in advising the board. We receive reports from the staff and advise the board. We have a finance and audit committee that the staff reports to. The finance committee each month reviews the financials presented by the staff and vets those numbers, and then they make recommendations to the board. And then we have discussions at the board meeting about the financial reports. They also receive reports from the auditors. Our financial results are audited every year. I think have we completed that, or it's in the process? I know he's been at the facility.
99.9% done.
Okay. So far, no emergencies have arisen, so I guess that's the good news. With an audit, no news is good news, right? So the committee is working with them. And then we have the Board Development and Nominating Committee. Some of you have had firsthand, up close and personal interactions with that committee, but they serve a valuable role in ensuring that we adhere to our bylaws and timely accept applications, and they review candidates before they are submitted to the membership. The board does not vote on them. The board is not involved. The board at large is not involved in the selection. They recommend a panel, and then that panel is presented to the membership. So that is really, the panel that you'll see is really developed by the BDNC, again, without any influence from the board itself. And they also ensure that the board, as part of its governance function, has orientations and trainings throughout the year so that we fully understand our obligations. So. Financials. Where is that in the program?
It's,
Okay, it's page 11. Is the annual report, I think, is in their folders, Elizabeth? Okay. I don't have a slide, but on page 11, you'll see the pie chart at the bottom, and that shows you the allocation of our expenses. You'll see that 79% is for outreach and education. Administrative expenses are 15%. Fundraising expenses are 16%. Those are well within the IRS guidelines for what NPOs should be spending their revenue on. Most of our, as you can see, almost 80% of our funds go back into delivering programs. I just wanted to make, Kate and I have a few comments about the statement of activities that you see on page 11. If you look down at the bottom under net income, you'll see three columns. One is the actual expenditures and revenues. The middle column is what the board budgeted for that fiscal year. And then in the right-hand column are the variances from the budget. You'll see down at the bottom under net income, for the year, we showed a loss of $33,414. That is significantly lower than what had been budgeted, so that's a good thing. I had to, when I got on the board, I was given a stern lecture that as an NPO, it's not a good thing to show a lot of profit. So it's a small amount. It's been audited. The auditors are fine with that amount, and it's not at variance historically from what our numbers have been.
And it's not a cash flow issue. I just want to be clear, it's not a cash flow issue. We have cash. We also have money in our investment, which the board has in its brilliance, designated when necessary for expenditures. But the expectation is we need to get our work done, so. Okay.
I just wanted to point out a couple of more things. You see the NAMI Walks statement of income, and our net was $79,000. You'll see it says net of expenses of $100,000 and change. That is the expenses of putting on the walk, but it also reflects the monies paid back to the affiliates. We don't have a separate line item for that, but that again, we return significant monies to the affiliates for their participation in the walk, and also there's money that goes to NAMI. There is a payment that goes to NAMI National, right?
Can I?
Yeah.
So the actual direct expenses of the walk are extremely minimal. I believe in, and this is off the top of my head because I don't have them right in front of me, but I believe that the direct expenses for that walk were approximately $6,000 or $7,000. Okay, all the other expenses were that 10% of the gross of the walk, no matter who raises it, 10%, we have to give 10% of the gross to our national organization. And then we give 55%, which is, I'd love to have it even more, but it is actually more than any other walk in the country. Most other walks give 50%. But we give 55% of anything that an affiliate raises back to them before any other, before the NAMI portion or the direct expenses. So that's how, when it looks like expenses are so high, the expenses are 90% or more that goes to our national and our affiliates, which is how it should be. It's the best thing that has ever happened to NAMI, in my view, because we are all working together. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I would just like to point out a couple of other things. Remember, I mentioned growth. If you look at the expenses, you'll see under program training expenses, there 33,000. That's an increase of about 40% from what was budgeted. But that's reflective of us providing more trainings for the volunteers out in the field. The other thing I want to point out is educational materials. There's also an increase of 40 to 50% in in educational materials. That's attributable to producing materials for family-to-family, peer-to-peer, in our own voice, et cetera, that are delivered by the Model B affiliates. So, okay. I am getting the high sign that we are well past our time. So, thank you for, that's the state of NAMI.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Bloom, and I am happy to present the Walk Awards for the 2019 NAMI Walks. As Kate said, it was a phenomenal event. It was so incredible to see how many people came to Rashfield on June 2nd and all the work and passion that was involved in that. So I would like to present the first Walk Award to be presented is the Top Fundraising Affiliate Award. This year's award is being presented to NAMI Howard County. This affiliate and its many teams and individual walkers raised more than $42,000 in 2019, with 3 of the year's top 5 walk fundraisers raising money for NAMI Howard County. And we are, yes. I'm sorry. And we are very happy to recognize NAMI Howard County for this amazing effort. So accepting this award is NAMI Howard County's board president and the Walk's #2 fundraiser, Steve Gray, as well as Julie Cleveland, who is a member of the NAMI Howard County board and the affiliate's walk coordinator.
know, she's got multiples here.
Medium.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next walk award to be presented is the NAMI Walks. The NAMI Walks the 2019 Outstanding NAMI Walks Achievement Award. This is the first time in my experience that we have given this very special award, and it's being presented to Pastor Yolanda Peebles of NAMI Prince George's County. Pastor Yolanda has been instrumental in raising both awareness and funds for mental illness through NAMI Walks. Her team, Change Agents, was this year's top walk fundraising team, and Pastor Yolanda was this year's top individual fundraiser, bringing in more than $20,000 this year alone. We are very happy to recognize Pastor Yolanda's dedication and passion for NAMI's mission and for her commitment to raising money through the walk to support it. While Pastor Yolanda was unfortunately unable to attend today's event, Colette Harris, Executive Director of Yolanda's NAMI affiliate, NAMI Prince George's County, is accepting this award in her honor.
The pastor is a perfect example of how the walk can be used not just to raise funds, but to raise awareness. She really, really did an amazing job through her entire faith network and other networks to raise awareness. So thank you. So every year, we give an award to the Affiliate of the Year. This year, we are giving it with great appreciation and pride to NAMI Lower Shore. NAMI Lower Shore has, as many affiliates have over the years, ebbed and waned and then surged. But I believe what we've got now is total sustainability. Oops, that's a challenge. Now they went from good bit of activity to, as people burn out and move, to much less. They chose to really push forward when we went through the reaffiliation process. They made sure that they not only met the standards that were required for Model B affiliates, which means that they must comply with all of NAMI Maryland's policies and procedures and financial requirements, because we vouch for them, but also the NAMI Standards of Excellence, and really working on building an amazing amount of community outreach, engagement at 3 counties level, okay, on governmental boards and other local providers, speaking to law enforcement, and with a small group that has very carefully been grown into an extremely active and committed steering committee, which is a requirement of a Model B. We at NAMI Maryland added a few requirements with NAMI National's agreement that a Model B must have a collaborative action plan that NAMI Maryland works with them on, and their steering committee commits to pushing forward. They have a robust collaborative action plan, and they are moving forward fast. So I just wanted to, and they are one of the programs that is moving forward on family to family and all of that. So I just want to bring up NAMI, representatives from NAMI Lower Shore, one or two? Or the photographer has to sit there? So we'll have photographs, we promise. Now, see, that's good outreach, right? They're constantly making sure that they're showing their visibility. Okay, and before we go, yes, we're going to take a picture with this, but then we have another certificate.
I didn't get the memo.
No, you did. I didn't. Who's taking the pictures? Thank you. We also have a certificate of special recognition presented to NAMI Lower Shore in honor of receiving the Affiliate of the Year award from the Honorable Benjamin Cardin, United States Senator. So he and his staff was unable to be here. They came, key staff person was at our awards dinner and then stopped by yesterday. They apologize for not being here to present this, but we wanted to make sure you got it. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
and I can't do this. I just realized we're not.
So, thank you again. Thanks to all the walkers and just the superstars that we honor today and the affiliate of the year. And if I can just add one more thing about affiliates. We have Model A and Model B affiliates. Our goal, our aspirational goal, is for Model Bs to become Model As. And so just because you're a Model B doesn't mean that you're there. It's once you've demonstrated the growth and leadership that you need to be a Model A, we would hope that you would become a Model A as well. So at this point, though, I would like to turn the proceedings over to our outgoing BD&C chairman, Mr. Blankfeld. Bob has served on our board for 6 years, and he's taken a hiatus, but just wanted to thank you for everything you've done over the years, Bob. You and Don have really systematized this. So.
Thank you. Good morning. Hi. So I'm just here to give a little bit of a rundown on the election procedures and the voting procedures, and also to introduce you to the candidates who are on the slate. So I think, as was mentioned before, voting will take place in the lobby. You can pick up your ballot at the registration desk. As a reminder, you do need to be a registered member of NAMI in order to vote. If you're not sure of your registration status, you can check with the staff in the lobby, and you can also update your registration status today if need be. So balloting will take place starting after this meeting, and will run from 10 a.m. until about 1 p.m. after lunch. So we hope you will all vote early and vote often. But we're hoping to get a very good representation of the membership in this year's voting. So without further ado, and not in any particular order, I'd like to introduce the candidates who are running for the NAMI Maryland Board of Directors. And so first, I would like to introduce Karen Hussey. And if you could come up to the stage, you're not going to have to speak. You just stand here. So people can get a look at you. And all of the candidates will be available in the lobby, following this meeting so that you can have a chance to meet them, to chat with them, to learn a little bit more about them, have them introduce themselves. But Karen is Director of Development for the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Johns Hopkins Medicine. She has an extensive career in fundraising, working with various nonprofit and academic organizations in that capacity. She is from Howard County, and where she lives with her husband and their 4 children. Karen Hubbard. All right. I'd also like to introduce Bob Tettelbach. If Bob is here, if he would like to come up to the podium. All right. Bob is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Air Force and currently works with the U.S. Department of the Interior. He has spent considerable time with NAMI Maryland and with NAMI Montgomery County as a connection support group facilitator, a peer-to-peer teacher, and with the In Our Own Voice program. He is also helping NAMI Montgomery County with developing their strategic plan. Bob has been married for over 30 years and has 2 grown sons. Okay. We also have 2 incumbent candidates. These are candidates that are currently on the board of directors who are running for a second 3-year term. And so in that respect, I'd like to introduce Joe Ashworth. Oh, there he is. Okay. So just the first page or all 3 pages? Okay. Joe currently serves as as the president of the board of directors, a role he has filled for the last 2 years. He is from Annapolis. He joined NAMI in 2007 after his oldest daughter was diagnosed with a bipolar disorder. He's been very active in various NAMI programs, including the Family to Family program. Has been a state trainer in that respect. And he has provided terrific leadership to the organization over the last several years. I would also like to present Mike Perez. Mike couldn't be here today. He is currently traveling. But Mike is also a current board member. He has experience as a caregiver for someone with a mental illness. He currently works with the federal government as a disability programs manager and conducts workshops on mental illness in that capacity. He is currently a graduate student in organizational leadership, and he has served on several NAMI Maryland committees, including the Board Development and Nominating Committee and the Finance Committee, and also has a particular interest in the faith community and mental health. I'd also like to present Jared Wilmer. Jared also was previously a board member for a period of time back in 2015. Here comes Jared. He is a recent graduate with a degree in history from McDaniel College, where he graduated summa cum laude. He is an individual who is in recovery and currently works full-time as a operations manager. He is hoping to continue his education, looking at graduate and PhD programs, where he hopes to study the intersection between mental illness and belief. And as I mentioned, he has been living with a bipolar disorder for over 15 years and is currently in recovery. He's also from Carroll County. And then finally, we have Beth Gilliland. Is Beth here? Hi. Come on up. So Beth has been a Southern Maryland resident for 25 years and was a realtor for 12 years, and for the past 6 years has worked as an insurance agent. She currently serves on the board of a nonprofit for homeless advocacy and on the steering committee for NAMI Southern Maryland. She teaches in the Family to Family program and facilitates a family support group. She has 2 sons, one who's in Baltimore and one who is in DC, and says she lives with her better half, Luke, in Waldorf. She is a graduate of the University of Maryland with a degree in business management. So we are delighted to have an outstanding slate of candidates for the board of directors. I think individually and collectively, they bring a tremendous amount of experience and skill and training that will be extremely helpful to the organization. So I also want to take this opportunity to thank the other members of the Board Development and Nominating Committee for their work in helping us to identify and select this slate of candidates, and hope you will give them your serious consideration. So as I mentioned, voting will take place starting after this meeting. You can pick up your ballot in the lobby, and we hope to close the ballots by 1 p.m. after lunch. So, yeah, Fran? Oh, thank you. Yeah, you can vote for up to 6 candidates on the ballot. So we have 6 vacancies that are available on the board of directors. We also happen to have 6 candidates, so that sort of works out nicely. So anyway, thank you all for your willingness to be on the slate, and best of luck.
Thank you, Bob. I'd just like to just add one more point dear to my heart. Don't take this the wrong way, but I've always been concerned about the preponderance of the Baltimore-Washington corridor on the board, and you know who you are, you people. I grew up, I came through NAMI from what they would consider to be a rural area, although it isn't, Beth, St. Mary's County. And one of the pieces of diversity is geographic diversity. And I think we're doing a really good job by having folks from Carroll County and Southern Maryland on the board, because that's a very valuable perspective. So having said that, I think it is time, Kate, to adjourn this. Do you have any final comments? I'm sure you do.
No, Joe, you have to stay here because you're going to officially adjourn the meeting.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. No, I mean, so that they're allowed to leave, right? No. Sorry, I just want to also mention that talk to the candidates, because all of them have personal lived experience, a connection to NAMI. Their short blurbs are not everything about them, and they will be out in the lobby for a little while. Take advantage. If you're not a member, we have a very odd, we have a wonderful aspect to our organization is that you can become a member 5 minutes before you vote. So, just saying, you may adjourn the meeting.
All right, so we are officially adjourned. I look forward to speaking to all of you during the course of the day. And again, thank you for coming out early.